All right, welcome back to week 3 of Mastering Money Management with Urban Forex. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking to you more about how do you measure opportunity if you're an aggressive trader. Okay, if you're an aggressive trader. And what I mean by an aggressive trader for this particular video is a person who's entering a little bit too early. Okay, so in that same example that we looked at on the last video, as the trade is preparing to roll over and then take off, a person might get too excited and saying, that's it, I'm buying right now. Or that's it, it's going up, I'm buying right now. And then having to sit through all of that stuff. So everything, now before we even get into that, everything in the Forex market should be measured in terms of risk to reward. Okay? Everything should be measured in terms of risk to reward. Okay? We discussed this in the first few weeks where we discussed how much are you putting down as a risk. This should be your number versus how much are you going to get. Okay? I'll put an exclamation for that, for the profit. Okay? How much are you risking against how much are you going to profit, right? Now, aggressive traders have a tendency of getting overly excited by saying, I can see it's going down. And initially the idea is, no, I know I need to be calm. I cannot just take a buy just like that. The pullback happens, comes down the second time. They're like, oh, I can see he made a lower low. I know I need to be calm. I can't just take a buy just like that. But then the next green candle kicks in and he goes all the way up. Now they're overly excited, like, this is it. This is it. And they end up taking a buy up in this area thinking, now we're going to go target up to this area or higher. Okay, this is a common mistake. Now, whatever opportunity you might be trading, okay, whether it's a range trade, pullback trade, channel trade, whichever method you're trading, there is an aggressive trader who is looking to get in a little bit sooner rather than later. Okay, for conservative traders, we're going to be discussing it in the next video. But for aggressive traders, you're looking to get in sooner. Now, the risk management for aggressive trader, on top of that, is they'll put their stop losses right here at the recent low. Okay, some might even have the audacity of saying, well, it's already on its way. Why waste my money here? Okay, because aggressive traders also tend to be the greedy traders, right? Why waste my stop loss here? Because from this price to this price, if my risk is $100, then my lot size from this price to this price is going to be according to that. But what if my stop loss, if I looked at it carefully and I don't see price is going to go down anymore, they put their stop losses right there, assuming the next candle is going to blast off to the north. Now their lot sizes is even bigger. They're still risking $100, but their lot size is even bigger because now their take profit up here just became 3R, for example. It became 3 times what their risk is in this size. Earlier, it would have been 1.2R because this was their risk down here and that was their profit. So how much they're putting as risk amount determines how much profit they're going to make. So in this big one, they're looking at 1.2R maximum. Okay? Which means 120% of your risk. You're looking to make approximately $120. But here, you're risking $100, but you can make $300. Same trade, the greed kicks in, stop losses are smaller, and so on and so forth. Now, if you've identified that you are an aggressive trader, okay, from past historical methods. Now, I'm not asking you that if you know you've taken a trade and the trade's eventually worked out. You know, I'm not questioning if you know how to pick a trade, okay? What I'm questioning is if you yourself are able to identify that you are an aggressive trader, then you have to work with smaller risk to rewards. Okay? That is the only way around it. Okay? So, Last video we discussed things about the ATR and how the average movement per price. When you're dealing with when you're trading early stuff like this, and you have a good enough understanding. Obviously, if you're buying on this big red candle coming down, you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out what type of strategy you're going to trade, because the strategy you're currently on is extremely dangerous and chances are you won't have longevity. But if you're thereabouts in this zone and you're just like, okay, almost, you're gauging the momentum, you're understanding the flow, you're not just hitting it based on location, like, okay, if it touches this price, I hit the buy. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're trying to understand how, when, and why. If you're trying to figure out all these questions and you still enter and you're like, oops, made a mistake a little bit too early, that's perfectly fine. The answer for measuring your opportunity comes from a lower risk to reward. So if the ATR at this moment is 13, as you can see on my bottom left of my screen right here, okay, I'm going to put my mouse back onto the green candle. If the ATR is 13, you also want to make sure that you are at the range of 2 ATR, 2 times the ATR, also for your stop loss. Okay, also for your stop loss. Now, if your range is at 2 ATR, so let's say you entered at the opening of the next candle, or while the candle was rising up, this price that you're getting is approximately 0062, so the 62 price you're getting for the buy. And if 2 ATR, if ATR is 13, 2 ATR is 26, right? 13 times 2 is 26. So 26 pips lower. Okay, what price was this? This was 62. If I reduce 20 from that, that's 42. If I reduce 6 more from that, we're looking at 36, sorry. So right around here. Your ATR, your stop losses should be around that. Now, how do you know if that's still safe? Okay, because that's your risk that you're projecting to the outside. But from this entry that you have, what kind of risk do you have going towards profit? Okay, so same thing, from 62, we're going to add 26. So if we add just 20, that's 82. And if we add 6 more, that's 88. Now, 88 puts you up in this area right here. That is outside the boundaries of your resistance. Okay, so that is outside the boundaries of your resistance. That cannot happen. What you want to do is take this whole thing, this entire thing. I'm going to draw it for you in terms of risk to reward. So that's your entry. This is your stop loss down here at this price 36. Your take profit is supposed to be at 88. You're looking at a risk to reward of approximately 1:1, but you're outside your area of resistance. Okay, because resistance comes a lot earlier compared to what your 2 ATR is saying. That means you cannot take that price. You have to wait for a price lower that can identify with going with your 2R hitting those numbers. This will help you really iron out where your entry needs to be for you as a money management. Remember the lessons we've been talking about, your X-ray vision. If the opportunity doesn't fit in your X-ray, you don't trade it. Okay? The market has a million opportunities. You need to be very picky. Okay? Which means if the trade blasts off from that green candle, let it go. That's fine. You cannot trade unless you get a price of 54. You need that price at a bare minimum. Okay? It is only then you can take this trade. Not to mention, even though this says it's 1R, which means whatever you're risking is what you're getting, right? So if you're risking $100, you're actually making $100, but there's a problem there. Okay, that's the ideal world. You're risking $100 and you're making $100. Okay, which is the best thing that can happen in the whole world, because you're making 100% in a matter of hours, which no one gives you. No real estate gives you like that. Banks don't give you those opportunities. And even if any of these outside entities can give you that opportunity, you cannot repeat it over and over and over again consistently. in trading, you have this ability to do that. Okay? However, you don't get the full 100. You have to minus your spread. Okay? Your spread or your commission or your fees that you pay to open and close the trade. So it is not, if you see a trade that is 1:1, you are actually not dealing with a 1:1. Does that make sense? Which makes it you need a little bit more than that. Okay, if you need a little bit more than that, and you need to say instead of 26, my spread on USD Swiss franc is 28. 2 pips. So that makes my take profit at 28 pips. You can see it right here. Now it's 28 instead of 26. Okay. Now, if that is outside the bounds of resistance, you need to bring it back down a little bit more and saying, I cannot enter unless I have the 50 price. That is your minimum requirement of success. This will help you tremendously into control your aggressiveness, okay? But it will also force you to be patient, while at the same time, even if you mistakenly enter too early, your stop loss of 2 ATR is going to give you that additional breathing room necessary to still survive and still profit from the research that you're putting into play, and your education might be partial somewhere, okay? And you have to still fix out some things, but the point is you're able to fix it out while doing this way, okay? And you're still able to walk away with some money being made on this, okay? All right, now let's proceed to the next video, and we're going to discuss more on conservative traders.